Welcome to the Brand Doctor Podcast, strategies that help entrepreneurs build reputable and profitable brands. Here's your host, Henry Kaminski Jr.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Henry Kaminski here from uniquedesignz.net with another Brand Doctor Podcast episode. And today I have one of my buddies on the show with me, David Wagenius. Dave, say what's up to the audience.
Hey everyone, David here.
So David is part of the Brand Doctors Hangout Facebook group, and David and I have been buddies now for quite some time. He started following me, I believe it was on Facebook, and then we got closer in relationship, and now he's in the group. And I told you guys, I love bringing the audience in and onto the show because I want you to be part of it. Because when you're part of something, you start to pay attention more and you start to really feel it. And that's what branding's all about. So, you guys hear enough of me day in and day out with my rants and my stories. So today I want to take the emphasis and attention off of me. And I want to share with you and have David share with you his entrepreneurial journey and how he sort of came up and how he's grinding and moving and shaking day in and day out. Because the one thing that was very intriguing to me when David and I first started talking was that he lives in Cambodia. And that was very intriguing to me. I've been dying to know how the hell he even wound up in Cambodia. So David, let me shut up. Introduce yourself to our listeners and tell us how you first got started with your business and entrepreneurship, and let's go from there.
Okay. As Henry said, my name is David Wagenius. I live in the Kingdom of Wonder, Phnom Penh, Cambodia. And my journey on online marketing actually started way back in the 90s when we didn't have voice chat. We had nothing. And when you communicated with people, everything was through U.S. mail. And I was doing fairly decent, but unfortunately life got in its way, and I kind of let that slip through my fingers, which was a big mistake, but it did. And so I didn't do anything more with online marketing. And when I moved to Cambodia, I'm a retired real estate agent, and I moved to Cambodia with my wife, stepson, and our daughter. And I started to work in real estate a little bit. The big problem was I could not speak Cambodian. So that was a big issue. And being retired, living in a strange country, I had nothing to do. What was going to get me out of bed in the morning? So I got involved with a friend of mine that was doing a multi-level marketing thing. I watched her journey for about 6 months, and she was just doing leaps and bounds. I mean, she was just going up through the ranks. And so I finally joined her company. And things went bad to worse for me, shall we say, because one, I do live in Cambodia. I can't do a hotel meeting or a one-on-one or a house party or anything like that. And I got disillusioned with it. Asked her, how can I make this work? She said, well, post on Facebook 5-6 times a day and you will become rich. Well, that didn't work. So I searched around the internet, found a company that was an educational type company that only gave education. They weren't selling pills or anything like that. And I started getting educated in marketing itself. Now, they didn't do anything with branding at that particular point. They were just educating on how to do marketing. And I found another company that was even more dedicated to educational. Their back office has ungodly amount of materials, like a university. But again, they didn't do too much in branding. And me, as probably most people do, I can create a logo, I can create this. Well, I'm not a designer by any stretch of the imagination. I threw something up that looked good to me, and I kind of left it. And the more I got involved with Henry, the more I'm realizing that the brand, the image, the first step forward or first foot forward is so important in this game that we're playing now. and I don't mean game in a bad sense, but what we're doing now, because there's so much competition out there, and if you cannot stand in front of your crowd, you're just going to get swallowed up by the crowd, and you're not going to get noticed, no matter what you may be offering as a product, as a service, as a business opportunity. You're going to get lost in the crowd unless you can stand out from them. And branding is one way, or the only way, really, that you can do that. And if you don't do that, all of your hard work, all of your knowledge is kind of a waste at that point. And they say 97% of internet marketers quit, and that's probably one of the reasons. And I was like a typical person. I put some of my money into training. I bought this program, bought that program, but really wasn't looking at the basics. And the basic is you have to have a good design that's eye-catching, that's going to catch people's attention at least long enough to look at maybe your logo or whatever you're showing, that may induce them to look further into a post, into a blog, into a web page, et cetera, et cetera. So that's my journey up until this point.
That's awesome, David. And let me chime in here real quick. You know, it's one thing to have an eye-catching logo, a aesthetically pleasing website design, or a fancy social media page, if you will. However, that's just one side of it. And I want people to understand this and really understand the fact that branding is not just pretty logos. It's not just pretty websites. It's not just image, but it's messaging and positioning as well. Do you have a solid message that really resonates with the audience that you're trying to serve? The other part of it is, are you getting creative with it in 2017, 2018, 2019, 20, when it comes to marketing and branding your own business online, offline? Here's the thing, guys. Like David said, competition is getting so deep and so heavy. 97% of internet marketers are dropping out because guess what? Business will always go on. It's whoever has the most attention at the end of the day, whoever has the most gall to keep going, the confidence, the right products, the right service, right? Those are the people that are going to last. So let's think of something for a second. I want you guys to think about this. Let's not go out there trying to beat our competition, because we're never going to beat them, but we can outlast them. And if you can outlast your competition, it's a different ball game. It's a different ball game. So, David, tell us what you're working on these days, and tell us one of the big frustrations or complications, if you mind sharing, if you don't mind sharing, because I know there's other people out there that are probably feeling similar or may have been in the same situation.
Well, that's kind of part of my journey. Also, going back to the multi-level marketing company I was with, they had no good, solid training out there. As simple as that. They just threw something up against the wall. If it stuck, it stuck. And I went through by purchasing some programs or courses from people, and you get 50% of the stuff you need. They forget to tell you about, you also need an autoresponder. You also need this. You also need this. Now, all of a sudden, your $300 investment turns out to be a $600 investment. Well, what do? You bought the course, and so you start investing more and more. So it's very frustrating to purchase something and you don't get everything you need. So I purchased a couple of courses, and one that I really like is I'm using OBS, Open Broadcast Source. And this is for making videos or live streaming and stuff. And I'm really pursuing this, but I'm throwing everything, absolutely everything into it. I'm not leaving a stone unturned, because I went through all the frustrations of trying to make something work that I didn't have all the information to. And that, I think, is the biggest frustration anybody in marketing really has. They just don't have everything that they need. And some of the stuff you see on the internet right now, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, I was going through my news feed and I saw this one person, and I actually know her. She was selling some health products, and she had a kitty cat face put on through Facebook Live. And I'm going, well, if you got to put a clown suit on or a kitty cat face on to sell your product or your service or your business opportunity, that doesn't give you a whole lot of feeling of confidence. And so I think that's one of the biggest. I think this kitty cat. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And I don't know if
it's like a circus. It's like a circus out there.
And I don't know if she kept it on for the full time that she was on, because I didn't watch it all that long. But that's the first thing I saw was somebody was trying to market themselves and their products as a cat. And I'm going, she doesn't have a clue of what she's doing. And I think that's part of the frustration, because the training to some degree is really lacking. Yeah. At least that's what I found. And I think there's other people out there that get disappointed in it, because just because you're advanced up to a diamond or whatever level doesn't mean you know a lot. Maybe you were just lucky and you had a whole lot of friends that joined you and you got boosted up to the next rank, but you probably don't know any more than the next person right below you that you just recruited.
And that's great. That's a great point.
And this is a lifelong journey. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. There's so much involved in it. And this industry of it, network marketing, is so huge. There's so many things you can do within it. Just like being a doctor. You can be a brain surgeon. You can be a heart surgeon. You can be whatever. There's so many facets to that, just like there is in internet marketing. Such as you, Henry, you specialize in branding and helping people get recognized. I'm doing something on the live video scene to promote, to get live videos that look much better. And even on live videos on Facebook, there's no way that you can brand yourself, because it's just a square. You look, people are looking at, just you. They don't be able to brand themselves, and they're missing the boat. They're really missing the boat.
Yeah. And again, that's the key. It's how do you get people's attention? I talked about that this morning. I'm going to share a quick story with you. I was watching, I spend quite some time now daily in different Facebook groups. So I'll spend 20 minutes in this Facebook group. So I like to allot maybe an hour's worth of time, right, per day. Mm-hmm. And I'll spend 10 minutes in this group, 10 minutes in that group. And so I was in a Facebook group today, and there was a woman sort of agitated and aggravated about the software that this group revolved around. And she said, I've watched all 7 of these videos on training, and you make it look so simple, but I'm still just as confused as I just started. And I took a step back, because I said, let me empathize with this woman first. I've been there because I've been using this software a very long time. But when I first started, I was like a deer in headlights too. So let me go back to 3 years ago and empathize with her. I get that. But as over the years, I've become a savvy entrepreneur, and I've said to myself, okay, am I going to spend a week's time in a confusing atmosphere, or am I going to spend a week's time in revenue generating atmospheres that I'm comfortable in, that I know and can be extremely productive in? So I responded to the woman as nicely as I could, and I said, whose fault is that? Is it the software companies, or is it yourself? I said, and then I just basically replayed what I just said to you. I said, why did you spend all of that time on confusing when you could have spent all that time on stuff that you're really good at, and maybe could have hired out the confusing stuff? Now, for those folks that that may not be in a financial situation to be able to do that so quickly, right? So I have to empathize with you guys. I say, you know what? Well, let's get creative with it. Let's get resourceful. Maybe reach out to somebody who's really savvy in the software and say, listen, if I could be of any service to you, what are some things that you're struggling with right now, right? And let them speak, right? Because you may not be aware that you may have a special power, or you may be able to help them in a way that you didn't know, right? So understanding their needs and wants, right? And saying, hey, you know, I don't have any financial money to give you, like dollars to give you, but I'm really good at this. And I was checking you out and I realized that you could maybe really benefit from this. If I were to do this and help you, you think you might be able to help me like get past this big bump? And so I want you guys to start understanding that value is currency. Value is currency. So if you don't have the bucks to put down or just hire out, be resourceful with your superpowers and maybe offer that. It's reciprocity. It's barter. I've done this several times and I'll continue to do it. But it's not the software's fault. It's not the training's fault. However, I do know a few courses that do purposely leave things out for upsell opportunity, which I think is really annoying as well. So I'm in the same boat as you, Dave. You know, but 9 times out of 10, we're just focusing in on the wrong things. And so putting ourselves in positions where we're going to be able to grow and really put ourselves in the right place is all strategy. You know what I mean? So I could go off on a tangent here. Let me bring this back around. So now let's talk about this for a second. So now you have a brand called OBS Master.
That is correct.
Dave? And so Dave, how did this brand sort of form and evolve?
Okay, this goes back to that multi-level marketing company I was with. That was about 1.5 years ago, give or take a little bit. And this is when first Facebook Live was really coming out. They just started doing Facebook Live, and everybody says, you got to do live, you got to do live. Okay, I agree with that. My problem was I don't own a phone. I do not have a phone. So I could not do a live presentation on my phone because I didn't own one. And at that particular point, when Facebook was rolling out their live applications, you know, they roll it out in regions or sections at the time. And Cambodia, or where I'm at, did not have the live button rolled out yet. Actually, my live button rolled out, I think it was 7 months ago, that was available here. So I searched on the internet and I found something I know nothing about. It was OBS, Open Broadcast Source. And I learned the very hard way. There is no documentation on it because it's open source software, so there's no documentation whatsoever, and you learn the hard way, and I did learn it. And I had all kinds of problems, but I was pig-headed and stubborn enough that I wanted to do live videos, and this was the only way I could do it, because I wasn't going to go out and buy a $300 phone to do a live video on. So I finally got it to work, and I took some courses I bought one course in OBS, and I actually knew more than the instructor did at the time because I muddled my way through it because I had so many problems. I knew more than he did, and his course was not very good, period. So I kept learning more and more about OBS with green screens, chroma keys, everything. And the OBS is actually just like having a mini TV station on your computer. You can do so much with it. It's really very, very creative, shall we say, to get your message across in a very nice way. And I just kept working with it, and other people asked me to help them with it. I helped other people with some of the problems they had with maybe one particular thing. And then I am developing a webinar about it. And I just love OBS because, again, if people are not going to be doing live videos in the future or are not doing live videos now, they are really going to be left in the dust, I believe, because 80% of the stuff on the web right now is live video. Only 20%, I believe, is white paper or type print, whatever you want to call it. And the 80% that are doing the live videos, they're doing them, but if they're not doing them very well, they're going to drop down to the bottom of the 80%. They're not going to get noticed either. And it's just not one little thing that's going to do everything for you. Your videos have to be right. Your content has to be right. Your branding has to be right. I mean, there's so many moving parts to some of this stuff. It's almost incredible. So that's how I got into the OBS, and I really enjoy it because the stuff, you can do so much with this software. But it takes time to learn it. It's just like anything else. There's a learning curve, and that's why I kind of mentioned this is like going to university, a PhD degree. You just keep learning every day, and you keep growing every day. And that's kind of the joy of this business, because you do grow. And it's just not growing in your business, but you also grow personally. Because I'm not the same person I was a year and a half ago. I know I'm not. If nothing else, my tolerance is much better. I mean, if nothing else,
we build up tough skin, right? Especially when we're stretching through the mud, making mistake after mistake, and finally, getting our head above water and saying, all right, I could do this. And that's how we grow. That's how we expand. And I tell my clients that all the time. We're gonna fall down, and the key is getting back up. And when I was learning OBS, I got to the point where I was ready to take my computer and throw it out the window. I mean, I really was. It was so frustrating, but I worked through it, and now I'm teaching it to other people that want to learn this to be a step ahead of their competition, shall we say. And there's a place for Facebook Live. I mean, that's never going to go away. There's a place for that. There's a place for everything, but it's just like, if you buy tools, there's not one screwdriver that will do everything. How many screwdrivers do you own? Quite a few, probably. Because one screwdriver will not fix everything. And that's the same thing here. But I believe there are basic things that you should have or try to be good at. And, the live videos are going to be one of the necessities, I believe. The branding is definitely going to be very, very important, because if you look like a kindergartner putting something together on whatever you're doing, people are going to kind of judge you a little bit by how well you look. Like putting a cat filter on your face, doing Facebook.
There you go. There you go. That was hilarious. I couldn't believe it.
And so I just want to highlight something here that is, my key takeaway from our conversation just today is that you had a need. You had a need, and you had a desire to obtain, conquer that need so much that you did whatever it took to get to where you're at today. And that's why I had you on the show, because I find you very inspiring. I find you very persistent. And I think those are two very, very important things when it comes to building your brand, building your business. Is if you don't have persistence, it's going to be a very, very long road ahead. So think big picture when you think branding. Think 2-3 years down the road. If you're looking for the quick win, branding is not any of that. Branding is, if I continue to put out this message and stay consistent with my image, stay consistent with my values and my presence online, what's 2 years from now going to look like? Man, if you would have saw the videos that I was doing a year and a half ago, you'd probably cringe. The whole screen was just like my head. Right. The composition was off. I didn't have any sort of direction in content strategy. I was just a big mess. But I'm here too.
But you were out there.
But I was out there getting my feet wet. I knew it was something that I love to do. I love getting out in front of an audience. And, you know, a year and a half later, multi-camera studio, you know, very consistent with my message, very consistent with my format, you know, and it's just growing. And now we're averaging 5,000-6,000 people a week that watch my stuff. So there's something to be said about sticking with it, but making sure that it's something that you're passionate about and something that you actually would do if you weren't getting paid for it. And that's what I work when I get on Skype calls with David. It's like I can see it in his eyes how passionate he is to help people, you know, level up their video experience and level up their presentations and stuff online, because he's passionate about the software. And just like I'm passionate about ClickFunnels. I mean, ClickFunnels is heavily embedded into my business and it's not going anywhere. And
ClickFunnels is good.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just like you get connected, you get, you know, it becomes one. And so your story is very, very inspiring, my friend, and I appreciate you coming on the show. I really do.
I am so thankful that I found you, because I'm looking at a lot of things in a different light, because the things that you bring out on your videos, on your lives and stuff, or your gem of the day, it's just so refreshing that it actually helps you look at things in a different light. And I just love your material. I really do.
Thank you, Dave. That means a lot to me. And I hope I get even better. You know what I mean? And I'm going to continue to do whatever I can to do that and help you guys get a different perspective on things. Because that's my goal. I mean, my goal is to help. I think everybody on this planet has an opportunity to, honestly, my big picture is to live the life that they want to live. And the way you could do that is to build a brand that is sustainable enough to help you fulfill that. And that's big.
It's just helping everybody. You help somebody, they help you. And when people start realizing this, and this is a very, very small world. But there are some very, very good people in this world also that are willing to help, asking nothing in return.
Yep.
I mean, I've helped a lot of people, and I never got anything back that I'm aware of. I mean, I didn't get money from them. They had a question, I give them a quick fix. It works. They're happy. I'm happy because I was able to help somebody.
That's it.
And that's what a lot of this is about.
That's it. Listen, guys, at the end of the day, and we'll wrap this up here. At the end of the day, business is a team sport. That's why the Brand Doctors Hangout Facebook group exists. There's over 200 business owners in this group right now that are all helping each other. Every day, somebody else is posting something different to help the community get ahead. You know, Sin Mobley today posted a great post about how to create great advertising. And there was a post from David Ogilvy, one of the best copywriters on the planet, right? David is always participating inside of the community, you know, sharing insight and, you know, just giving his 2 cents. And it's just having that sense of community, having other people to bounce things off of. Shit, I didn't have that when I was building my business 10 years ago. I did everything off the cuff. You know, and listen, if it stuck, it stuck. If it didn't, it didn't. And I knew it because no sales would come in. So to have that. So for those of you guys listening and asking, well, what do you talk about this brand, the Brand Doctors Hangout? Well, it's a public Facebook group. You still need to be approved to get in. But if you just go to Facebook and you search query Brand Doctors Hangout, you'll see the group. Come join us. Come into the community. Come hang out. I'm doing lives in there every single day. David's in there daily, you know, just helping everyone out. And it's a great community to be in. And it's just there to help everybody build their brands. And like I said, create a business that will help you sustain the life that you truly want to live and deserve. So that's big picture, guys. I'm going to wrap this up. David, Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing those key highlights. I think it's very, very important that my audience.
Well, thank you for having me here.
No problem. No problem. It's important that the audience hears this, from a fellow entrepreneur, from a fellow, podcast listener. And so anyway, guys, hope you got some value out of this. Again, drop a review on iTunes if you can. If these podcasts are helpful, share them with a friend or colleague. Hit me up on social media. If you have a question that you'd like me to highlight on the show, I'll shout you out. I'll give you some daps and answer the question on a future episode. So you guys know how to find me on social media. I'm checking out. David, thanks again. I'll catch you on the next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Brand Doctor Podcast with Henry Kaminski Jr. To get your appointment with the doctor, visit Brand Audit at www.uniquedesignz.net.